Okay, next one is change of environment. Uh, and this works not just for translation, but it works to motivate you in general. Like if you don't like the place where you're living, or if you feel like it's stale, or if you feel like, you're sort of in a rut, just change it up for you. It doesn't have to be forever. It could be forever. You could just move to a new city or a new country. You could just do it for a week, but that actually has a therapeutic effect. I'm not going to belabor the point, but it's there. It's a tool. But now I want to get to the most important things that I have to say. There are three of them. But before, I'm going to explain an interesting principle, and it has to do with human attention. And attention is super important, not only because school teachers say so or military sergeants say so. It is a part of communication, an undivisible factor of communication, but that's not even what I'm talking about. Think of attention as like little drops in the ocean, or maybe little marbles in the mind. And so if you've lost enough marbles, no, I'm just kidding. But we all have a certain quantity of attention, and it might be huge, but it's not necessarily limitless or infinite, And some people are born with more verve in life, and some people are endowed with less. I'm not saying this to be discriminatory, but you've all seen that like people seem to be geniuses, or their energy seems to be inexhaustible. But think of it as like, I don't know, lakes or oceans. Every lake is beautiful, but some people have more attention in their mind or spirit, and some people have less. And there are things that drain our attention, and there are things that give us back our attention. And attention is really important. Because let's compare it to a computer. Let me be less esoteric. Let's say that a computer's memory is all used up. It's going to be really slow. It's not going to function. But a new computer, a computer with added memory, or a computer that has been de-rubbished, will function better. That's kind of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to talk about three things specifically that rob you of attention or endow you with attention. And this is everything, because attention is what we use to translate and interpret. How could you possibly do a good job of interpreting or translation if something, let's say some virus, quote unquote, some mental virus, as in a computer virus, is robbing your memory, quote unquote, all the time? And there are factors in people who do that. And the first one is people. That's why they call them energy vampires. And I'm not going to define right now what that is, because that's a whole different story, another story that should be told another time. But if you notice that a certain person or people, or action for that matter, I didn't put action here, but we're just going to group habits together with people, although that's probably not correct. They should be separated. But if you see that certain people rob you of attention, just do away with these people. And I don't mean knock them off, like as in kill them. No, I just mean cut them out of your life. Cut the communication. And if you can't totally, because it's some sort of a relative or a friend, nobody like that could be a friend. But if it's some sort of a person that you cannot cut out completely, then diminish it to the highest possible degree. But best to just eliminate them out of your life. So any person, and it doesn't have to be a negative person. It does not have to be. Once a girl named Felicity, and her advice was very felicitous, and which means different things, but look it up. It means favorable or fitting or something of the sort. And she said, well, people could just have incompatible personalities. And it might just be that you have an incompatible personality, but if every time that you talk to this person you're upset, then don't talk to them before interpreting or at all. Like this has happened to me. Yeah, and same with habits. Like again, these are different factors, but same with habits. If there is a certain habit, but we can group this under analysis that I've already described. So this is very, very, very important. And the other side of the coin, or the other edge of the sword, is that if there are people who make you happier or more capable or more competent, then by all means bring more of them into your life. Talk to them before interpreting, make them your best friends, make them your partners. So analyze this factor very, very, very thoroughly. It sounds simple, but most people, quote unquote, know this and then don't use it. So I actually suggest doing this, and we'll talk about it more in the last advice that I have to give, which I actually missed one. So this was number 11, hopefully. Number 12 is going to be unfinished tasks. Why unfinished tasks? I'm not your business coach or your life coach or anything, but that is actually a technique used by some very competent business or life coaches. The person comes to them and they say, I have this problem and that problem, and they expect all sorts of, intricate, sophisticated solutions, and the coach says, write down a list of all unfinished tasks in your life and start finishing them. And the person is like, what? But it is actually a very workable tip. Why? Again, because these unfinished tasks, they suck your attention, like 1, 2, 3, 20, 30, 40, how many, and each one sucks a certain portion of our attention. So it's a very, very good exercise to make a full list of unfinished tasks, big and small, and then either cross them out if they have no relevance in present time or in your life today. You can just cross them out and decide, this is not relevant, I'm not going to finish it, it doesn't need to be finished. But if it does need to be finished, then either finish it right away if it's doable, or take the next step towards finishing it. And this can be very, very therapeutic. In fact, I should probably do it myself. Okay, last one that sort of encompasses all of it. What is it? One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. But in our case, it's in the light. It's not in the darkness. So factors that are helpful and harmful. And there's a very simple principle. By factors, it could be anything. People, habits, material things, money, anything. And there are factors that are helpful to you, and there are factors that are harmful. And it is a no-brainer. Let's take this pen, okay? I need something else. Here, let's take 2 pencils, pink and black. It is a stereotype that black is bad, but I'm just gonna roll with this stereotype in this case. So let us say that there is a certain negative factor in your life, and this factor is coming closer, or it's becoming more inevitable. How are you going to feel? Let's say it's a person that was out of your life and it was a negative person, now they resurfaced. Or maybe it's taxes, and you know that you have passed the deadline and now the IRS is after you. Or it's, it's a car breakdown that is coming closer and closer because you hear things rattling and you just never take it to the mechanic. So if a negative thing comes closer, becomes more impending, your spirits drop. If a negative thing gets pushed away further or gets made non-existent, your mood rises. Like, let's say you fix the car, you finish your taxes, or at least you push the deadline out 6 months, and you get rid of that person in your life, or you just, whatever, you don't communicate to them, you feel happier. And it is the reverse with good things. If a good thing is moving away, a person, a job, money, if you almost closed a client but didn't, you kind of feel bad, right? But on the other hand, if you bring a possible prospect, or let's say highly paying job closer to you, it doesn't just have to be money or a job, but let's say you get new running shoes, you get a new beautiful car, anything, then you feel happier. It could be a new skill, it could be a past exam, but you get the idea, right? There are 4 variations here. Something bad can be closer or further, and when it's further, it could be non-existent. Something good can be closer or further, and when it's closer, it makes you happier. So using this principle, you can actually increase your level of attention and, increase your spirits, and therefore improve your linguistic performance. I want you to actually do an exercise. You can do an exercise on all of these, like review these tips, and ideally would be to take a step, an actionable step on each one. But if nothing else, just do this one. See if you can bring closer something very positive and push away something negative. It doesn't have to be actually it could be slightly positive, slightly negative, and so on. If it's a client who's 99% closed, close them. If it's a new suit that you wanted to wear to your next interpreting job and it's at the dry cleaners, pick it up. If it's a girl or a guy you wanted to go on a date with, well then seal that date. Or it could be anything, literally anything that makes you happier or more productive, and so on. And vice versa, push a bad thing further away or make it non-existent in your life, and you will see that this actually works. All right, I think it's time to conclude this beautifully long clip, but I wanted to give you these tips because sometimes people only think of specific training, chess, running, swimming, translation, and yes, that's very valuable, that should be done, that must be done, but sometimes it's factors outside of that field in question that actually affect the field in question. And I should have said this at the beginning, but it should be obvious that various spheres of our lives affect other spheres of our lives. I did say that at the beginning, but they're all interwoven, they're all interconnected, they're not disconnected. You know, your marriage or love life affects your translation and vice versa. Your health affects your translation and vice versa. Your health affects your marriage or love life and vice versa. Money, the state of your car, anything, you know, they're all interconnected. So I hope you use this principle and write me your wins and successes, and please also share them on the channel and do all the good things that, you know, viewers and subscribers are supposed to be doing. And I almost feel very nostalgic about finishing this clip, but I'm sure I'll see you again. Ladies and gentlemen, and Translation out for now.